Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to discuss the energies of the September 7th Pisces Lunar Eclipse occurring at 15 degrees, 22 minutes of Pisces in your chart. And because it's a lunar eclipse, that means the sun is in the opposite sign of Virgo, also at 15 degrees of 22 minutes. So we're going to be discussing the energetics of this eclipse, the first eclipse in September that is working with the North Node in Pisces. This is very important to understand because eclipses are either working with the North Node or the South Node, and depending on whether they are a lunar eclipse, which is a full moon, or a solar eclipse, which is a new moon, that also brings an emphasis on the themes and impact that the eclipse is going to offer, as well as what's going to play out over at least the next 6 months. So this particular Pisces lunar eclipse at 15 degrees is conjunct the North Node at 18 degrees of Pisces. So this tells us right away that we are meant to be growing through new intuitive awareness. We are meant to feel lighter in what we are releasing and closing out. There are more rewards and benefits for what we leave behind, as well as trusting what is guiding us through the unknown. This particular Pisces lunar eclipse is connected to the Sabian symbol at 16 degrees. Now that's because with the Sabian symbols, we always round up to the next degree point. So the eclipse is at 15 degrees, 22 minutes. We round up to 16 degrees. And the message or energetic imprint at 16 degrees of Pisces is, in the quiet of his study, a creative individual experiences a flow of inspiration. Beautiful, fantastic. And what a welcome influence of energies to focus on at this time. So we're going to get into more of the specific themes of this eclipse. And what I would invite you to do is to look at your chart. And if you have any planets or points between 10 and 20 degrees of Pisces, this eclipse is working with you more personally. Anytime an eclipse is conjunct a personal planet is when you have more personal developments and it's a bigger time for you. This not only includes the personal planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, but also the outer planets, which will bring about more significant life changes. And in Pisces, the focus is on endings, closures, unraveling, the chapters you are clearing out and moving away from, as well as support here from the universe through that North Node to be adaptable to the changes, to see what you were learning, to understand the spiritual significance in your own ascension journey. Pisces is a sign of duality where we flow up into the spiritual realms for perspective and higher understanding. There's support for connecting with your higher self, trusting your intuition, and being more attuned to the messages from your soul. But we can't stay up there in those higher realms. So the other part of the Pisces journey is returning into your human self and understanding what you are carrying from those higher perspectives that support you, your own spiritual principles, your consciousness, perhaps a connection to an ideology or a framework that helps you understand this is what I'm learning or closing out. This is what my soul came here to experience. And that alone can support you in moving through the intensity of the human experience. So Pisces wants to offer you greater compassion, kindness, and empathy to yourself. Pisces also elevates us into unity consciousness, which can remind us that we are all in this together. We are all connected through the energetics on the planet, as well as the energetics in the higher realms. Okay, so coming back to your chart, that means planets or points between 10 and 20 degrees of Pisces are going to feel this eclipse the most. And then you also want to look at any planets or points you have between 10 and 20 degrees of the mutable signs being Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. those are also going to be planets and points that are impacted by life changes with this eclipse. And if you do not have any planets or points between 10 and 20 degrees of Pisces, you want to identify where you have 15 degrees of Pisces in your chart by house placement. The house is where the eclipse is going to be shaking up your life and requiring you to make changes in order to move ahead. I'll be talking more about these Pisces themes here shortly, but it is the house placement that is very important for everyone. So look at where you have, again, 15 degrees of Pisces in your chart. This house is where the eclipse is going to be felt the most in your world. This is the second of 3 Pisces lunar eclipses that we are experiencing into 2026. Interesting to note that we don't have a Pisces solar eclipse in this current cycle. We only have 3 lunar eclipses working with that north node. So again, it means that we're in a cycle of understanding what needs to go, what you're ready to surrender and allow, how you are opening up new space in your life where this eclipse falls. And that would be another way to look at a Pisces lunar eclipse conjunct the north node. You're meant to have new space in your life. You're meant to have a void and openings that set you free and don't feel like they're overwhelming your energy, confusing, or have you lost in the weeds. So see this as a grand clearing out, especially since this will be happening in the Pisces areas of your chart 3 times. Again, this is the second time. We had a Pisces lunar eclipse last September at 26 degrees. That was on September 17th. And then we'll have the third one, August 27th, 2026, at 5 degrees of Pisces. Now, every lunar eclipse is again that full moon, so the focus is on the Pisces full moon, but we also have that Sun in Virgo in the mix. So here we have the focus on water and earth, land and ocean. On the Virgo side of the equation, Mercury is in Virgo at 10 degrees. So there is added logic, analysis, methodical strength, and the desire to focus in on practical facts and details. Mercury is strong in Virgo and conjunct the Sun brings a focus to problem solving. What are the next steps that we can take? What is the process? Where do solutions lie that maybe we haven't discovered yet? And how can we focus in on what is essential amongst all of the chaos, uncertainty, and unknowns? So the Virgo part of the equation is strong. And then we look over on the Pisces end of things, which, as I said, has that north node. It also has Saturn, which has now returned into Pisces retrograde at 29 degrees 32 minutes. And the Saturn is very influential. Do keep in mind that all 3 of these planets are ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is retrograde at 1 degree of Aries. So right away, what stands out here is that this eclipse is going to be bringing up more extreme weather developments. Flooding, storms, and hurricanes are going to be historical and record-setting. We're going to have more big weather events over the next 6 months. That was the case last year as well, when we had the back-to-back hurricanes in September and October 2024, right after that Pisces lunar eclipse. That's when we saw Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton move through the southern US. Of course, there were other typhoons and big flooding events in Europe and Asia as well. So we're going to see extreme weather developments here as these Pisces energies are highlighted. And again, they're working with ocean and land changes. So there will be changes to the shorelines, beaches, riverbanks, sinkholes, and other changes in the earth because of this heightened flow of water movement. I do feel these are going to be historical events. In terms of the hurricanes, there could be like a category 6 type of development. And of course, we don't want that, and I'm not intending that, but that's what these extremes are about, is that they are record setting. There's things we haven't experienced before that are coming up. And of course, it does bring up what is natural and what is artificial. There's been a lot more stories out these days about cloud seeding and the companies that do that, what their intention is, what the experiments are. And that's also part of the Pluto and Aquarius energies, where there are many experiments happening in all areas of our lives. So unfortunately, there will be some devastating developments. There have already been a lot of flooding events on the planet, unprecedented water movement, and that looks to continue over the next few years with these Pisces eclipses. Some more themes associated with a Pisces lunar eclipse involves areas that Pisces rules, which includes medicine, drugs, chemicals, alcohol, liquids, including oil and gas, oceans, seas, the fog. Pisces also rules mental health issues and what is coming undone within us at a mental level. The overwhelm, the confusion, what's real, what's true, what can I trust? Looking at how you might numb yourself from the energies, any unhealthy coping mechanisms that result in a form of escapism or avoidance from reality. Pisces is also phobias, dementia, disassociation in any and all forms, not being able to settle or rest, and how that can continually stir up worst case scenarios. Pisces also rules prophets, idealism, mystics, little white lies, fake narratives, propaganda, glamour, entertainment, anything that's presented a certain way so that you believe in it and trust in it. But is it real? Is it true? What's going on behind the curtain? Often with the Pisces influence, information is missing. The truth is missing. There isn't the full story. There's things that aren't readily apparent, and we're trying to figure them out and navigate through the foggy mist of it all to determine what can I believe in and what is truth. So this is going to be an eclipse that brings up the bigger themes that we've already been navigating through, including disappearances. Where have lists disappeared to? Where have people and children disappeared to? What has been going on behind the scenes? What's the real story here? What's the truth? And what is being hidden so that these stories will disappear? These themes will disappear. People will stop asking questions. How do you get people to stop asking questions? Well, the Virgo influence of Mercury conjunct the Sun is not going to give up on looking for those details and specifics. This is the Virgo energy that wants the facts. Show me the evidence and the proof. I want to see what you're operating off of, how you're making choices and decisions. So this is a strong Virgo that isn't going to let things simply disappear or fall off to the wayside. There's also stronger influences at this time that want to shift the mass consciousness, that want us to forget certain stories, want us to forget certain developments and things that are unfolding. So then there are distractions that come up. There are things to look at over here, look at what's going on over here and forget about what you saw over there. So there is an intention to erase from mass consciousness certain developments, events, and ongoing issues so that people are no longer thinking or attached to them at an energetic level, and therefore they can phase out and close out. So keep in mind that there are higher frequencies here that are intruding upon our mass consciousness, and there is an ongoing battle between the higher realms, between galactic beings, around what Earth can be and what the potential is for humanity. And you could look at it through many different lenses, but just know that everything that's happening on the planet is not what it seems. What is unfolding between countries fighting and wars and these very horrific events, it's not what it seems, because there are higher agendas in play that are looking for more control and want humans to be more submissive, malleable, and controlled. And so this Pisces lunar eclipse is going to bring up deeper questioning around what you're sensing is true for you, where your frequency rises, where you want it to go, even if you don't fully understand why. With Saturn in the last degree of Pisces, that is the energy of extinction, serious endings, changes in leadership. Those who are in a position of authority are going to have challenges over this next cycle. Saturn is bringing forth the karma and what is incomplete, And Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces is a focus on the soul's responsibility to clear out big karma before moving forward. Now, do keep in mind that 2 weeks after this eclipse, we have the solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo. This is on September 21st. It's at that final degree point of Virgo, which also is about the endings that are occurring on the planet. So that's going to be a big theme here. And we're going to be moving through a very powerful cycle of uncertainty. And this uncertainty can bring out many coping habits. So, of course, stay mindful of what you are drawn to and where your energy wants to go. But know that this is a cycle that's embracing the circle of life, cycle of change, how we are able to flow with developments that are out of our control. And as humans, we sure like to think that we're in control, right? But this is going to be an eclipse that brings up how we handle our mental health, spiritual health, energetic health, emotional health, how we take care of ourselves and understand that our bodies can be holding a lot. Our minds and emotional well-being are also affected. So we need to be grounded and practical in what we can tend to understand that it might be more difficult to sleep. And how does that affect you when you don't get enough sleep? Some people need a lot of sleep, some people need a little. So this is understanding how your body responds to lack of rest and what you can do to adjust your schedule or your lifestyle to incorporate more sleep and downtime so that your energy body can fully rest and restore, as well as feel grounded and safe during a time of big upheaval. Now, in the higher realms, we can trust that everything is right on time, that everything is unfolding in a way that supports our growth on the planet and this evolutionary cycle that is unfolding over a few years. And so we have these ongoing events that continue to reveal what needs to close out on the planet, as well as how we can invest our energy wisely in areas that lift us up and return us to that higher perspective that Pisces loves. So this might be an opportunity to also put energy into unity consciousness and to see everyone else as a soul on their own individual soul journey, and that alone can help us detach from judgment and be more readily connected to compassion for what every soul is learning and moving through. This Pisces lunar eclipse is asking you to trust what you need to close out in order to move on. What no longer has energy for you, or that energy is fading. You could even check in on how this has occurred for you over the past year. So since we had that last Pisces lunar eclipse in September 2024, now we're back in a similar area of your chart. And what are you realizing you no longer want in your life? Where are you feeling this is okay to step away, close out, and end this for myself so that I have more energy for what I desire next? And the universe will bring about those endings as well. The universe is going to close out what is no longer useful for you, what you no longer need in your energy or awareness. The universe will be dissolving and unraveling areas of our lives that are not an energetic fit for where we're going next. And this is individual and collective changes here. We are also going to feel a spiritual renewal of some kind, where after you make a choice or the choice is made for you, whatever the case may be, you could realize you feel relief. You feel like, wow, that was really weighing on me and I didn't even realize it. You might sense that you're more willing to understand what you were learning through that experience, situation, or chapter in your life. Now, with Neptune and Aries ruling the Pisces lunar eclipse, it is time to ask new questions in order to create a new dream. And you might be sensing that is arriving too, that it makes more sense, if you will, why something has to end so that something new can begin. You might be feeling the energy becomes more excitable and motivating with the Neptune and Aries influence, where You want something to leave and be gone so that you can continue into this new adventure that Neptune in Aries has been opening up for us in 2025. It's been coming through your dreams, your intuition, your visions. It's been arriving through maybe subtle nudges or just even blasts of messages. I mean, I'm thinking about waking up from a dream. Neptune in Aries is where we return to the physical to be in the present moment. And so I feel that part of this influence is a blast of awareness that you can't deny. And maybe you're seeing it and feeling it through claircognizance, clairaudience, clairvoyance, any of the clairs. And you're sensing, yes, this is what's on time for me now. And I'm ready to go for it because the energy is there. Now, it's a little bit of a tease, I've got to say, because this Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces on October 22nd and hangs out at 29 degrees of Pisces before re-entering Aries January 26th. So here we're going to see this Neptune at that final degree of Pisces. Again, extinctions, endings, extreme closures, big karma, removals of the old ways from the previous cycle. It's a grand finale, October into January, with Neptune in Pisces. So we are in a cycle that we've never been in before, which means we can't adequately prepare, but we can trust our knowingness and we can trust the divine that guides us through our lives and through our daily experiences. So this is a time period to really trust what you're feeling. If you're driving home from work and the guidance is to take a new way home, trust that, because you could be avoiding a backup or an extreme accident of some kind. Maybe your guidance is telling you to do something and you don't know why. Or conversely, your guidance is saying, don't do the thing, don't do that, and you don't know why. It would be wise to simply trust it without needing the logical mind to have answers or specifics. And of course we want that. It's very satisfying to the ego mind to say, oh, okay, this is why I wasn't supposed to do this, or this is why it's better if I do this. We're not going to have those answers. We're not going to have that validation. Rather, this is where we are digging into that deeper connection to our spiritual guidance and allowing that to be enough. It's enough to just trust my intuition and the energy. That's enough. It's okay if my mind doesn't have the exact details here or know the full story. Perhaps you will later. Perhaps you will in hindsight or on reflection. You'll look back and say, that's why that happened like this or didn't happen like that. So part of the Pisces theme here is that we continue to coast and flow with the energies without relying upon the mind to have it all figured out. And so check in with yourself on how that's going for you, how that feels, because it can really be a struggle. It really is, especially at first when you're just learning to do this, similar to doing new exercises and you don't have the muscle memory yet. You're trusting that, okay, the more I do this, the stronger I'm going to get. And that's exactly the case here. And that's also, again, really important when we have a strong focus on Pisces energies. All eclipses work with the North Node and the South Node, and so we can look at some of the themes between the Pisces and Virgo axis to understand more of how this eclipse will unfold. Now, it's going to bring up both sides of the polarity, meaning strong Pisces and strong Virgo. So you might be wondering, how has self-sacrifice been a teacher to me in directing me towards self-compassion? How can I release my tired, overworked self and embrace more of my enlightened self? Virgo is what is earned. Pisces is what is divinely and karmically received. Keep in mind, you can have good karma and receive some beautiful karmic rewards in Pisces. The Pisces Virgo axis also brings up what we work for and then how we have time off. It's the balance between effort and relaxation. It's how we develop skills that are purposeful and useful, how we fine-tune them, become experts and perfectionists, yet we try not to be too hard on ourselves or have ridiculously high standards. The other side of the Virgo energy there is Pisces compassion of I do my best every day. I open up to more that I can learn, but I'm not too hard on myself to the point of creating stress or guilt. The Pisces Virgo axis also reveals how the micro creates the macro. How is individual consciousness affecting unity consciousness at this time? And then it also revolves around what is given and what is received. Love is a verb, not just a feeling or an expression. Love is a verb. And what are you offering to others to demonstrate how you feel and how you show up in those energies? You might also realize where you've become shut down or burnt out simply because you've been overexerting yourself and working too hard. And this Pisces lunar eclipse is calling you to a vacation and some downtime, asking you to relax and let go, surrender everything you've taken on, and come back into balance with yourself. Look at, is this really what I want? Does this really serve me? It might serve others, it might serve the collective, but is it also benefiting my energy? So there is an opportunity here to return to greater balance as well as greater self-awareness around how your energy is being extended and perhaps overextended. The Pisces lunar eclipse is also going to offer us opportunities to practice forgiveness, forgiveness of self or forgiveness of others, to look at where you can step back from your expectations and practice that egolessness that is part of a Pisces openness, where I'm not only this body or this self-identity. I'm not only what's on my driver's license. I am a much bigger soul, always ascending and growing. How can I integrate that more into my life and live with that awareness? Pisces energy can bring up victim consciousness as well. Anywhere that you're feeling self-pity, avoidance, escapism, detaching from reality, the lower expressions of Pisces don't know how to deal with too much going on. It's all overwhelming. It feels like it's happening to you instead of for you, and it can drain the body, drain the emotions, and drain the spirit. So this is also a time to check in on the energy that you're holding. What needs to be strengthened so that you can trust yourself more and navigate life with a spiritual perspective that lifts you up? Where can you also be willing to take care of your responsibilities, handle them wisely, and not allow everyday tasks or routines to take over your energy to the point of feeling numb or paralyzed? When we have the willingness to see these parts of ourselves accurately, we can then work with the strength of the mutable signs. Pisces and Virgo are mutable signs that say, okay, what do I need to shift and change to move forward in a better way? What can I approach with a higher understanding? What is not working? What is not working for me? I don't want it anymore. I'm closing it out so that I can live a different version of life, perhaps integrating new lifestyle habits, new routines, a new exercise schedule. Virgo brings about practical small changes where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Rather, just make some incremental shifts that will bring about better results. At a physical level, Pisces rules the feet and toes, the bottom of your feet, the lymphatic system, skin hydration, and the immune system. So this eclipse is also going to bring up more health issues, how our immune systems are operating, if they are in their optimum state, what we can do to be stronger and healthier. But there might be collective health issues that unfold. There's usually the beginning here of flu and cold season as kids go back to school and start sharing all their germs again. Pisces is what is transmitted and unseen. So it's hard to know exactly where you picked up something, let's say, but you're going to feel it, right? Physically and energetically. So with the strong energies in Pisces, yes, there could be more of these types of infections, viruses, and sicknesses, but we don't want to focus on that. We want to focus on health and being healthy. So I would say during the Pisces lunar eclipse, focus on that. What can you do to become stronger within your immune system and or any areas of your body that you feel need more support or might be more vulnerable? But let's focus on how Pisces is grand creativity, imagination, inspiration, beautiful things you want to get lost in and experience that lift you away from the mundane life routines and gives you more reason to enjoy this journey. And that's one of the final messages I want to focus on here as we close out this podcast. Allow the Pisces lunar eclipse to reconnect you with what lights you up, what fills your soul, what gives you joy and peace around this life. And maybe it's simply reading a favorite book, focusing on a passion project or artistic endeavor. What really elevates your energy and your frequencies? That is one of the best ways to work with a Pisces lunar eclipse conjunct the North Node. And in fact, you might be ready to welcome in some things that you never tried before, or you haven't tried in a long time, getting the visual of returning to one of those inner child nudges where there's something you used to love doing and now you don't have time, but you want to make time for it. You want to bring it back in and be in the present moment joy of it. You might feel your crown chakra is really growing and expanding since Neptune and the North Node want you to become more intuitive and psychic. You might feel a release of karma, heavy emotions, unconscious patterns, parts of your life falling away and dissolving more effortlessly. That's something worth celebrating for sure. You might also feel that it's okay to surrender. It's okay to surrender to what is. Be in that place of deep acceptance of what is without needing to manage it or place expectations on it. That could lift you out of any stress, guilt, or worry, and to remember that it's okay to trust life on life's terms. This can help with the endings and closures that will be occurring. It can make it easier to accept them, well, at some level of our being, but then at least you are syncing up with the flow of this universal cycle, allowing it to bring you the wisdom of these transitions. If you want to learn more about this Pisces lunar eclipse for yourself, we talk about it more intensely in the 2025 Soul Growth Astrology program. So those of you who are in that program, this is your reminder to log back in and check out what these two eclipses are going to be bringing up for you. Keep in mind that the eclipses this year are the same ones we had in 2006. They are working with the same degree points as 2006, which means it's the same houses in your chart. Now, the planets are in different places. We have that Saturn in Pisces, we have Neptune in Aries. Those were not the placements back in 2006. So that's a factor, an important factor here in how 2025 is different. But you could look back on 2006 and say, that's where I changed in this area of my life because of these eclipses that were happening for me. So be sure to check out the program. And if you don't have the program, you can certainly buy it and join us and look at how these two eclipses are working with you in your chart, what they're bringing up more specifically in terms of the themes and soul growth potentials. You could also review the eclipses we had back in March and how those played out for you over the past 6 months. Plus, the full program has more deep dive information about this Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries, Uranus in Gemini, all kinds of stuff, tons of content. So it's designed to be an ongoing reference that helps you learn more about your astrology chart and specifically the transits that are happening for you in 2025. So I'll put the link below this podcast as well as the coupon code so that you can get the full program for a deal. I'll be back every Wednesday and Monday for a new podcast episode. The Wednesday episode is where we discuss the weekly energies of right now. And as we move through August, we have ongoing magical formations with the 3 outer planets. So we'll continue to discuss that here, plus the other main transits of the week. Again, that's every Wednesday podcast. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time, energy, and presence. I hope this has benefited you. I hope this has given you some good guidance to look at in your own chart and in your own life. And as always, I look forward to connecting with you again shortly. Take good care.